Struggling with prop firms? Let's go. Guys, welcome to the channel. Today's going to be a very important topic we're going to discuss, and it's actually going to be, and I've been thinking about this, right? Why probably the most number one reason why traders are unprofitable, right? I'll be bringing myself in, but I want you to mostly just focus on the charts itself, because we're going to be breaking down gold as well. Obviously, if you've been following my channel for a long time, for a while, then you'll know that obviously I'm a break and retest is my bread and butter, and obviously what I like to do on my channel is just simplifying trading. Now, before I'll just mark some of these levels here. We'll drop in some zones, and then we'll just take it from there. So basically, so this is, I've been actually thinking about this for so long, and just been asking myself, we always hear, your psychology has to be on point, this has to be on point, but still, why do 9%, so many traders fail? That is, and I think it's the sole obviously once you've got everything down, right? Because there's so much stuff on the internet, and I think we're living in 2025, guys, right? My viewers and everyone who pretty much tries to pursue the path of trading, I'm going to take it you guys are quite intellectual, definitely most likely smarter than me, right? And it's like we've got all these free resources. We've got the internet, we watch this podcasts out there, very well known ones like the Words of Wisdom, and like all these highly top 1% traders come on, and they share their thoughts and ideas of how they become profitable, what traders are lacking, what traders are missing. And still, after listening to all this kind of taking all this information on board, we don't make it through, right? Majority don't make it through. So I asked for, let's take this a step further, right? And what I've actually come to realize is the number one question is, once you got everything figured out, so-called, right, figured out, how much belief do you actually have in, how much belief do you actually, and faith do you have in your strategy, right? And I think the best example probably is, if I was to say to you, right, and this is what basically when majority strategy hop, this is what basically strategy hopping is as well. When majority strategy hop, right, it's like this. If imagine you're at the edge of a cliff, right? You're on the edge of a cliff, and let's say you're on the edge of a cliff, and what happens is, you're about to fall off, right? A sibling or a loved one, a spouse, or whatever you want to call it, right, comes and holds your hand, grabs your hand, right? Now, there's a very strong chance they won't let go. I mean, if you get along with them very well, right? No, but jokes aside, there's a very strong chance they won't let go, right? Now, replace that individual with a complete stranger, right? And if you do that now, what the chances, even they might still, as on the basis of humanity, they might still not let go, but still, how much trust? Like, think about it. If they start sliding down with you, they might let go of your hand, right? They might let go of your hand, and but if it's your sibling or your spouse or your children, right? They don't care they're going to slightly down with you. They still will not let go. And when you come in, now replace that, if you replace them with a stranger, well, you might be thinking, why do I keep saying that? Stranger is basically when you strategy hop and you go to a complete brand new strategy. That strategy, that's your stranger. You don't know if it's going to work for you, right? And definitely there's not going to be no faith, right? You can lie to yourself as much as you want, there's definitely going to be no faith in the strategy, deep down, even though you might think it might work for a few days. And the way you build this bond with this individual or this so-called strategy is you backtest and gain more and more data. Any question that you don't know how to answer, just go to your, you just come to the charts, and obviously I have Excel that I have my data on. I have even I have drawings on my trading view, that go back 2 years, so many years. Why? Because I don't want to be trading with a complete stranger. I don't want my strategy to feel like a stranger to me. I want that full belief that even in my days of drawdown, even in my streaks of drawdown, I have that belief that my strategy will bring me back. And it's going to happen. Happens to the best of us. Do not think you're going to have a high win rate with a super high risk to reward, super high win rate strategy. Me personally, I have a decent win rate and a decent risk to reward strategy. Obviously, this is the link in the video description if anyone is interested of joining. We've just past 1,500 members. But you can even check over here. This is where I mean, for me, it's all about transparency. I'm always, strong believer of start small. This was a trade that I took on Euro USD. I mean, I was just showing that passing a small little 10k account in 2 days, passed a 60k account in 2 days, and and this is when even when one of the prop firms declined my one of my trades, I still came back and just passed it. Right, this is almost 3% trade. I'm risking 0.5% per trade on this. By the way, I'm doing well here. I fall, take it to the next level. Start risking 1% per trade, passed it within 2, and not taking crazy, crazy risk. Stay risking 1% per trade, taking good setups and waiting for the trend to set, volume, the right strategy setups, and the breakouts, and then just risking 1%, and then obviously capitalizing. By the way, if anyone is looking for a one-to-one mentorship as well, and you want to take trading to the next level, and if you've been unprofitable and you for a long time, just join the Discord community, message me. And by the way, there's also the world's most affordable course as well. Again, just due to huge demand from these countries over here, I pretty much made everything super affordable for everyone who's been working in 9 to 5. Right, my biggest fulfillment that I get right now is just making people who are unprofitable, and when they just start posting their payouts and making it work for themselves. So coming back to the point, right? It's how much faith you have, belief. Ask yourself, if I was to come to you and say, what is your edge? What makes you sets you apart in the markets? I'll give you one example of mine, right? So some of the things that I do. So we've got obviously, I show obviously that is to the elite mentorship students my risk management techniques, how I lose less and win more. And I'm not talking in terms of risk to reward. I'm talking in terms of even the way I manage my stop loss, how I lose less and win more, right? So we've got obviously our zones marked here. Very, very simple, right? It's price. If price obviously comes up here, I'm looking for buys. Right, super simple. Now we've had support established here. Right, now if I was to go on a smaller time frame, right, now look at this. Obviously you wanna stick to certain time frames, don't just start jumping. We've got a little curve over here as well, higher low if you want to call it, and I can even mark that as a zone, but obviously we're going to stick to certain time frames, simply because we don't want to overcomplicate things. So what I basically just like to do is work off these zones, and my advice is obviously, now this is how I used to trade the break and retest back in the day, how I became profitable, right? Obviously the way what I show now one-to-one and all that is to my students is this break and retest is more refined, but this is still good enough to make you profitable, right? If price breaks, now obviously in this case here, let me just go over this as well, right? So price breaks through here, what happens in this case over here, you would lose the trade, right? That's fine, that's gonna happen. You're not supposed to win every single trade, it's not gonna happen, right? This is gold, so ideally I like to use about 300 points, and then just mark my losses in orange. Okay, but if I was to refine, I can already tell it's gonna be a losing trade. Yeah, it's got a little double top as well, so they're not even high probability setups, but you can see straight away as well that how can I say, the overall chance of winning is also going to be on the basis of if you look over here, look at this bearish trend, right? Now we are obviously created a low here. This was the lowest point. Price breaks through. Now you could have even capitalized on this move over here, capitalize from this move. Now obviously you take a sell from here if you was going to, if I just mark up this, right? We've got our zone here, price rejected this as well, price breaks through. Now you can even look for going for a sell over here, make the stop loss again like 300 points, and you're still looking for a nice 1 to 5. Now if we continue pushing going forward, right, remember support, support, breakout, right? Support, support, breakout. That's what we capitalized on. Price is heading back up now, right? Now what does this mean? Now me, ideally, I like to work off brand new fresh zones, right? I like to work off fresh zones. Now when price breaks through, now look at this. You know this first bearish candle over here? I'll bring myself in a little bit as well. You see this first bearish candle is a super strong bearish candle. I don't sell from resistance and I don't buy off support. Price breaks through. Now this is a sign sellers are lurking over here, right? Sellers are still here, but the buyers take full control. The buyers take full control, and what happens when they take full control? You know, price starts, obviously, look at this, wicks rejection at the top, wick rejection at the bottom. We've got volume candle bodies of the buyers become very, very small. So now when that happens, you know, what do? Am I just going to instantly take a trade? No, you shouldn't. You know, you gotta patiently wait. You wanna look at this. Look at the quality of each candlestick. Wick rejections. The wicks are way bigger than the candle bodies. Until these two candles form, the bodies are much bigger. They're more filled out. And you want to look at it in terms of gym as well, right? You want the bulky candles, not the skinny ones, the unhealthy ones. You want, you know, the bulky ones. Look at these wicks here. Until this super strong bullish candle long wick rejection forms, what can you do? After it closes, wait for ID to retrace a little bit. Stops below the wick and the zone. Again, look at that. It's my 300 point stop loss as well. Let me just change the color as well. 30 pips, 300 points, whatever you want to call it. And then even this will give you a nice 1 to 7. Right? Very simple. Now, if I just go, just zoom out a little, just one moment. Now, let's break this down. You know, should we just move on to another example? So I mean, look at this. Even if you do this one trade, it doesn't really matter. Why? Because we've already, you know, if you focus on here, right, we've already gained a nice amount of, I mean, that's the Euro USD going off alarm. So we've already got a nice, you know, few trades as winning trades. Let's grab another example as well. Let's grab UJ, good old UJ. Okay, yeah, look at this. Not my, you know, not my thing. I don't like this. I like clear volume. I like clear trends. I mean, if you was to trade something like this, you know, if it looks complicated, right? Most likely, you know, if you're finding it difficult to trade, to understand, most likely it is difficult to understand, right? Just avoid it, right? So I mean, but still, you know, are we able to work from this? Right now, look at this. I'm going to show you something. So let's mark up our markups. So we got, you know, price is making new lows, right? High, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Then price just tanks from here, right? Price just absolutely collapses from here. So let me just put this a bit lower. Now look at this. Even if I drag this all the way back, to some extent, it was, you know, look at this. Look at, I mean, look how perfectly that respects that. Look how crazy it respects that, right? Now, if I just, I'm just going to switch off one of the trading view alerts. Okay. Price respects all this here, this zone. Even though we get a wick rejection, forget the wick rejection, focus on the candle bodies, right? Price rejects it, price breaks through, closes as the candle body. You can just go to a smaller time frame, right? Go to a smaller time frame. Now, this is another thing where people go wrong, right? Another thing where people go wrong. Now, I'm going to show you how you can micromanage this, right? And it's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. Suppose, obviously, well, in this case, not suppose. So we've broken through this support level. Price comes up. We break through it again. Are you supposed to take your buy from here? And I know a lot of people do this. This candle will close, you know, stops below, well, above, you know, this little bit of resistance over here. And what they'll do is they'll just hope that price. Now, in this case, it works. Right? But overall, you know, that's not what you guys. You can backtest this. It's not going to work overall. Now you can go to a smaller time frame, right? This is what you should be ideally looking for. Get a marker, right? Look at this. Price breaks through. Got a nice volume, a lot, you know. And look at this. Put your 1 pen from here. And look at this. Until you don't get something like this, this curve, which is price coming back to retest, don't bloody take the trade. Simple as. Simple as. Right? Very, very simple. Price needs to come back. Right? Price needs to come back. Now, once it does, just one moment. So I'm just placing some positions as I currently speak. No, there's not actually no need. I think I'm just going to call it for the day. Anyways, let's get back on with the video. Okay, so basically price comes back, right? Now, suppose here. Now, someone tell me, right, when do they think they're supposed to enter? Right? Scan, obviously you get to watch this video backwards as many times as you like. Now, you guys tell me, right, when do you think one should enter this? We've got, remember, for entries and all that, my advice is just stick to one time frame, please. Don't start, you know, oh yes, I want to do this on the 2-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame. When I'm going through these time frames, the main point is that you stick to one time frame for entries, right? Super important. Price breaks through. We've got a bullish candle. We've got another bullish candle. We've got another bullish candle. Buyers are in full control. Why on earth would you take a sell? You got to dissect this one by one, bit by bit, right? But full super strong bullish candle. Now this is the good early sign, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean here. And this is a ugly kind of a inverted head and shoulder pattern forming as well. And I'm going to be showing you different ways you can go about this. So this is like some sort of, you can say a, you know, buyers could be in possible control, to gain control. But remember, we're focusing on the bigger. That's why you bring in the bigger time frames, right? And that's obviously going to tell us that we know the bigger picture says we are bearish. So, I mean, overall on the bigger time frame, if we're showing an inverted head and shoulder, like on the 4-hour or this daily, then we're gonna be a bit more careful. But here we got all bullish candles until this bearish candle forms. Once this bearish candle forms, you can have your stops. Now I use, again, super tight stop losses. Obviously, if you're one of the students from the mentorship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It just collapses from here, right? Look at this. Super simple. Now this is how the break and retest works every day, all the time, right? It's not rocket science. If I show you something now, why do you think price turned bearish from here and just tanked? Look at this. It was respecting this here. Support, support, breakout, rejection, resistance, rejection, bearish candle, boom, straight down. How crazy is that? Right? How crazy is that? It just shows, it just gets to you know that this works. How cleanly it works on the small time frames as well. How perfectly. I'll even show you something here as well. So we've got some kind of a, look at this. Look at this. Right? I'll call this black. So it just stands out a little bit better. Okay, watch this. We've got our resistance, wick rejections. Price comes down, breaks through, held it as support, comes back up, respected this, breaks through. Now, if you want to dissect, or once you gain more experience and all, and dissect this even more, right? You just follow this through. Watch this. Price breaks through this support level, if you want to call it. You could go wick rejections. Price breaks through, comes back up. Remember, the main thing that we got to focus on is this main zone. So I'll just change the color of the zone so you just don't lose track of the zone. Price breaks through support. Now, when do I know that this trade now is no longer my cup of tea, if you want to call it, right? That I've got no interest. If we start breaking above these levels, just one moment. This level here, which is basically like a resistance. This level here is just like a resistance. I'm going to take a step back. But we're not doing that. Price is continuing to make lows and lower highs, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high. This is lower than this one. This is lower than this one. Price falls through, and look at the clean, super clean rejection. You know when you get rejection like this is when you can have super tight. This is why you can get away with super tight stop losses, right? If I was to take an entry from here, my stops are not only above and pretty much near this wick here, I'm above the major zone as well, right? And at this point, what do we create? We're creating a left shoulder, the head, and then my entry is going to be the push down to complete the bearish signal head and shoulder pattern, right? I mean, obviously this is again, if you're more intermediate level and things like that, obviously you know, this would obviously, you'll understand that better, but this is what I'm just dissecting just to show you guys, you know, what's available. And once you have a full understanding of the markets, you know, once you live and breathe this, trust me, something as complicated like this that I mentioned, you know, look at this, something as complicated like this, we just took advantage of the fun, you know, possible 1 to 9. We're gonna keep things realistic. 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is what, you know, what I like to go for. 1 to, you know, so yeah, basically super simple. Yeah, I think we'll leave it as that. It's gone long enough, but if you found value from this, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Take care. I'm out.